There's got to be an Olympic song, Kate.
Oh, well,
Surely.
they let me look it up.
Is it Chariots of Fire? Because that's when I think
No,
of
that
like
would be a good one, though.
I love that.
No, Gloria Estefan's gotten in on the act over the time. Celine Dion.
Celine Dion.
Johnny Farnham and Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah.
Vanessa Amorosi.
Yeah.
You remember
Tina
in Sydney?
Arena?
Tina Arena.
But there's not really like
Well, hold on, here you go.
an Olympic.
Do you remember this one?
Kind of.
This was
It's familiar.
This is Paris.
Is there copyright issues?
I think we can get away with it, can't we, mate?
This is like every medal was presented to this beautiful little ditty.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
It
It's
is
an
pretty
earworm
cool.
that's stuck in my head.
Oh.
Da, 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 da.
Have you got a post-Olympics hangover, Kate?
If I didn't have a beautiful family to come home to, I would.
Oh.
I missed them a lot, and so it was very nice to come home. Merckxy, he really went for broke. He got the gold for the welcome home.
I saw that.
As I came out of customs.
I did see.
Look at him, looking spunky. Nothing under the towel, he tells me.
Oh, right. One of those relationships.
Bit of
is it?
Australiana.
Bit of Australiana, cork out. It was fantastic. But I feel the vibe, the come down.
Yeah, I'm like, don't know what to do with myself at the moment. I've been staying up all hours of the night trying to watch as many sports I was literally working during the day with my laptop on the lap, just flicking.
Wall to wall.
Like all sports, not just cycling. It was everything.
Did you watch the breaking?
Yeah.
Did you see Ray Gun?
Are we going to go down that
No,
rabbit hole? I think we
no.
should at some stage.
Some people said she was firing blanks.
Firing blank.
You get it, Ray Gun? Oh, do I really have to explain
sorry,
that?
Well, you kind of had to because she's
dearie
female.
me.
If it was male, you can understand that.
All right, well, hello, everybody, and welcome back.
Welcome back to the wheelhouse.
Yes, episode 106, if I am not mistaken. It feels like it's been a little while, but
It has.
last time from Paris, I barely remember that. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning.
I can't believe you actually got through that.
Barely.
Well, you were kind of still on Aussie time almost.
I was. In fact, I don't think I ever really
Got off Aussie time.
acclimatised to the local time. We had a few issues amongst the commentary team with the heat inside the velodrome. We all had, I'm not even kidding, like mild heat stroke and were quite unwell. So
it's so hot over there at that time of the year, and they rode so fast over there, for you guys sitting all day and talking all day in the one spot, it must have been very uncomfortable, but fun to call.
But very fun to call. Very, very, a real pleasure to call. In fact, I think it comes with a very big responsibility to make sure that you've done the research and...
Talk us through that TP.
Yes.
What about that?
That was magnificent. 20 years since we'd won. And on the first night of qualifying, and I had a good feeling, here's the thing. Every single big event, whether it be Olympics, World Championships, you talk to the coaching staff and they all say, they were breaking records in training every time. And then if it doesn't come together, they're like, I don't know what happened. They were so good in the week before. So you kind of don't listen anymore.
Yeah.
Same lines. But I had a pretty good feeling about it. And after about 10 minutes into the first session, Scott says, somebody's waving. And I look forward, and from our commentary tribune, just in front of us, a couple of rows back from the track, it's got to be the best tickets in the whole house, is Peter Dawson. Smokey, who won a gold medal in 2004 when we last won.
Yeah, with Brownie and Stewie.
And I haven't seen him probably in 15 years. It was so good to see him. And he'd come over
to watch
with some mates to watch.
His son is best mates with Ollie Bledden.
Well,
so
I was just shocked. His son is a proper adult.
Yes, and a good bike rider.
And a good bike rider. Yeah, he's been in France.
Yeah, racing
for the last 5 months racing, and Smokey had a lot to do with Ollie Bledden and even with Connor, and knew Sam well, and so came over to watch and to take his son Jordan back to Perth.
Yeah.
So it helped with the pack up. But that was just this incredible full circle moment. And the fact that he actually has a son that's old enough to have been part of the team shows how long it's been between drinks, so to speak. But
it's overdue, though. And they rode sensational.
Magnificent.
They just looked a smoother team through all the rounds than anyone else. They kind of, they've had their shit together. They did. Technically, they looked fantastic. They rode really fast. Kel O'Brien did his amazing job off the start to do a 59-second kilo and then hang in there and do another turn. I mean, if anyone's ever done a 59-second kilo, generally it's over. It's finished and you're blowing 185 beats a minute. You're at full lactate threshold. You've got to get back on the wheel and ride 66k an hour for the next 14 laps because that's the most difficult place. So for him to do that, and then Ollie doing 2-lap turns, Connor doing 2-lap turns, and then Big Sam Wells for probably the best team pursuiter I have ever seen in my time.
The Wombat,
with his gigantic driving backside, which is incredibly fast, low, and aero.
And his broad rugby shoulders.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing too because I remember Sam Wellsford when they lost to the English. And they were 2.1 seconds down when he came to the front and they lost by 100th in the final. So for him to do that against the English and then the guy falling off his seat, which has just added a whole nother drama.
Yeah, I mean, and to be clear, Australia would have won.
Yeah, so they were 0.216 up, I think. Does that sound right?
And they weren't dropping any in the last lap. Like it had come back closer, but Ethan Hayter falling off the front of his seat was not it didn't cost them a gold medal.
No, because he didn't. Did he go behind when he fell off his saddle? Did he actually go behind the third rider? Did he finish the?
He was the third rider.
Okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big gap though. But the reason he fell off the front of his seat is because he was trying so hard to hold the wheel.
Yeah, well, that's just a big mistake technically. There's no would have, should have, or could have. They were the best team from start to finish.
I agree with that. And it was a pleasure, I think, to witness because I haven't been trackside through their campaign like I was before Athens, where I was at the track training with the guys every single day. But I know what that process is like, and I've lived through it with teams that have been successful and with teams that have been devastated by disappointment. And it was a pretty satisfying moment. But I had to laugh at myself, Henk, because, I really pride myself on...
That's good you can laugh about yourself.
You've got to... I pride myself on how well researched I am. Mm-hmm. And that's something... Every commentator has a different approach.
That is true. Yeah,
I spend time being well researched and knowing the facts. But in the moment, things just come out of your mouth. You just say things out of instinct and habit. And
that's how it should be.
So I've gone in thinking this is a moment of big gravitas for the Australians. Mm-hmm. Don't F it up. This is the commentary they're going to be listening to for the rest of their lives. Yeah. And then I got quoted in the 9 newspapers the next day for calling the Italian coaches stunned mullets. And Matthew Richardson a hot potato. And I was like, are you for real?
Find everything.
I'm like, I said some really smart stuff.
Yeah, but they picked those things because it's all about going viral. They just want to pick something out of the ordinary.
Are we back to Reagan, are we?
No, let's not go back there.
Now, speaking of success on the track, the sprinters, magnificent.
Fantastic.
Matthew Richardson, magnificent. Matthew Gleitzer, magnificent. 2 bronze medals on his 4th Olympic campaign, and everybody, Merckxy included, thought he'd won at least a medal before.
Yeah, but he hadn't.
He'd been 4th on every occasion. That was cool.
Yeah, that was cool. And I mean, with Matthew Richardson, it's just a pity that we've probably got the best ever. I mean, he'd be up there with Chris Hoy now, wouldn't he, Harry Lavrese?
He's passed.
So he's surpassed him.
Yeah, and he's surpassed Jason Kenny, and he's now the best sprint cyclist we have ever seen, Harry Lavrese.
And I don't reckon he's slowing down anytime soon.
No. Hoogland is retiring now, but Levrayson is not, sadly.
Well, do you think Richo's got time,
Yeah, Richo's got time. I reckon he could go through to Brisbane if he wanted to.
How old is he?
Wow.
He would be 32 in Brisbane. There were only 2 competitors in the men's sprint competition in their 30s. One was Matthew Glaetzer. The other one was Azazul Awang from Malaysia.
Who's been world champion
world champion. He's an excellent keirin rider.
Yeah.
And Awang is retiring, as is Glaetzer, as is Hoogland, but he's only 27. So there's not generally that longevity in the men's sprint competition, but why not? There can be.
So LA will be sweet spot for Richo.
Yeah. But I really reckon he could maintain it through, especially in the keirin.
Well, not to put them down, but they only have to really ride 200 metres.
Yeah, that's true. Versus,
it's not like they're doing the Tour de France.
Yeah. Well, oh God, there's still fellas riding around in the Tour at nearly 40.
I take that back. I mean, those guys are absolute monsters in the gym. The amount of power work they do and the track sessions they do. Not taking as just a little gag, really, but those guys are monsters, and the amount of power and stuff they do is extraordinary.
Well, do you know one of the things I love the most about cycling at the Olympics is you are often commentating to an audience that aren't huge cycling fans and don't know a lot about the technical
just
side.
Tuning because it's the Olympics.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like crowd. I tuned into every sport I could find in between working.
Yeah.
But it gives you the opportunity to kind of explore a side of cycling that normally is given. And a lot of people were asking, what is the ideal body shape for a cyclist? Because you can walk through town seeing athletes and you're like volleyball, basketball, gymnast. You can kind of pick. But cycling, you absolutely cannot. Like the shortest rider in the men's sprint competition, one of the Malaysians, Sharom, is 162, I think, centimetres, that little fella. And then you've got Yakovlev, who incidentally is now riding for Israel, who's 2.11 m. And they raced against each other.
So he was actually really hiding when he was behind him.
Biggest. Like
he could actually hide.
Yes. And so the difference in body shape of all of them, it was really cool.
And it's also, when you think about how, I mean, Jonas Vingegaard, right, is probably 58 kilos ring and wet. And then you've got
tiny.
Yakovlev, who's like probably 110 kilo.
I think his race weight was either 105 or 110 kilos. Yeah.
So you're telling me I've still got a chance?
You've got a chance. And Richo's weight was 85 kilos, his race weight. And
muscle weighs a lot more than fat, doesn't it?
I'm told. I hang on to that.
Yeah.
And Levraysen's race weight was, 90 kilos, but there's also 20 centimetres different in height between them.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that, tall, short, chonky, not chonky.
Speaking of
track cycling.
size of stuff,
yes.
Can we talk about
gosh.
those? No, but those chain rings.
Oh,
how big are they going to get?
I was just going to bring that up. I can't believe. So I used to be in the Team Pursuit team in '92 in Barcelona, and I was the reserve, the fifth guy. They got silver in Barcelona, and obviously you don't get. I never actually raced, so not thinking I needed a medal or deserved a medal, but we were riding
honorary
410. And we're riding like 98, 100-inch gear. Like they're on 128 now, right?
Yeah. I mean, so there was talk that, especially for the sprinters, they can no longer get the benefit of training behind a Durney because the Durney can't go fast enough.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So the Durney needs to go closer to 90k an hour and it can't go over 80 without almost ending up over the fence.
It's unbelievable. Like I can't believe how fast they ride nowadays because, I mean, I did see something on social media about team sprint 66 kilometres an hour for 3 laps.
From a standing start. So they're actually travelling.
Team Pursuit was like 65.8 kilometres for 16 laps. That's just mind-blowing to me. Like they would have lapped us 2.5 times or something.
Oh.
From 92 to now.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 laps faster.
Well,
I mean, that's just monstrous.
So the talk was, do they change the design of the track because they're going quicker and...
Oh, like put speed bumps in or chicanes?
Oh, I think that would...
Trees.
That would have a result, but maybe not the one they wanted. No, like make it bigger than 250 so that the bends aren't as tight, and which is ridiculous. You can't... We've got all this wonderful infrastructure around the world.
No, just
you
go
can't
faster.
just do... How about
They will.
go
They're
back
just-
to
they're just
smaller
gonna-
gears?
They're going to go faster.
I reckon we'll see the trend almost go...
You reckon they'll do... I hope
Well,
the
they
UCI
can't
doesn't
go-
do that.
Oh, it's
Surely
the
not.
UCI. Let's not put anything past
Limit
them.
the size of the chainring.
Yeah, limit gears.
I tell you what, the UCI should have banned that George Carlin. With that.
Jack Carlin.
Jack. George, hang on.
Jack.
Isn't he
He's not a beetle, but he sounds like he could be
no.
one.
Yeah, he was pretty out of control.
Yeah, Jack Carlin. I mean, I didn't
Like he actually he was hitting them.
I didn't think he was riding in the Olympic spirit. But in saying that, he had a very bad crash in the Kieran final. And,
So he had flashbacks.
well, I was also like, oh, God, he doesn't deserve that outcome either. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
But-
I saw that. I saw a clip of him literally right hand turning and hitting the Dutch guy Hoogland, and that should have been for me disqualification.
Yeah, that
or
was
is that
well-
not in the rules, Kate?
no, that's curious because at the time we were very confused. I remained a bit confused. But the rules actually say that if there is an incident, a collision, that,
Before the 200 metre line.
well, in the first lap, that it just gets a restart. But
No restart though.
well, no, they did get a restart, but then he went on to win, which is why he got the bronze medal and Hoogland got the
So
fourth.
really, it didn't really.
Well, no,
it didn't
but
change the outcome, but still.
I don't know. I still maintain that, from my view, it shouldn't be just seen as a natural race incident and get a restart. Like he purposefully turned right into him.
Yeah, that was very purposeful.
And the only reason Hoogland didn't come down and hurt himself
'Cause he's a good
is
bike
because he's a
handler.
good bike
He's
handler.
a track sprinter.
Yeah.
So maybe that's acceptable. Did the Dutch go and complain?
Oh,
about
yeah.
that?
Oh,
They went
yeah. They were.
Twitter.
They were like,
going bonkers.
"Godverdomme."
Yes, they were.
Anyway, you can Google that if you want to, because it is a very bad
Let's
swear
see
word
how
in Dutch.
let's see how our subtitles deal with that one. Merckxy, what were you saying?
No, just I was saying Twitter. Twitter was blowing up about it, just saying
Yep.
what's going on.
Well, we had.
He should have got a yellow card.
He already had a yellow card. That's the thing.
You
But
know-
another one, and he was completely out of the competition, and so they dealt very lightly
Well,
with him.
you know, the yellow card's in at the Women's Tour de France.
It is. I like the yellow card system.
Yeah, it came in. One of the girls got a yellow card in the sprint the other day.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. Before we move on from Olympics, favourite moment.
Oh, my favourite moment.
Yeah, what was your favourite moment?
The ray gun.
Oh shit. Hang on. Sorry about that. I've got a frog in my throat.
Snail.
No, obviously the team pursuit. Well, I know we've talked about it, but like personally, I've had a lot to do with that team pursuit. Probably the only guy I haven't had a great deal. Actually, I've had a fair bit to do with them all, but is Connolly, who's never been part of the program that I've been. But Sam Wellsford was part of the Henk Vogel Cycling Foundation as this little 15-year-old kid, who then has been one of the best team pursuiters of all time. Ollie Bledden's part of the ARA Skip Capital team. He's part of our program the last 2 years. He's a fantastic kid, and he's a super kid. He's a great team pursuiter. Kellen O'Brien's was also part of Pro Racing Sunshine Coast back in the day, as was Cam Scott. So for me to have those personal, connections was special. I mean, I was so excited for the guys. So for me personally, to have that connection was amazing. So that was my highlight, obviously, and it's everyone else's too. Is their favourite, but when you know all the personalities and you've been following the sport for so long, it's amazing to see them get what they deserve in the end. World champions before, silver and bronze medalists in different combinations, and then for them to beat, the powerhouse nations, of which we're one. Sounds like, it's about time, but no, Olympic medals are super hard to win, and that's why they're called Olympic medals, and they only come around every 4 years. So the Aussies got the timing right. They just got the timing right.
Yep.
They've kind of fluffed it every other year.
Yeah, agreed.
I think they've pounced on everyone at Worlds. And the English are like, yeah, it's okay. You know, we're in a cycle here, you know, and I think they've got a very, very good track program of the best in the world. And for the Aussies to beat them at their own game was special. So, especially in the team pursuit. Obviously, the girls had a bit of work to do, but the men were special too. So.
Well, it goes in cycles of development, right?
Yeah,
but you're right. I had Chris Boardman sitting directly to my right.
My old teammate.
And I asked him about you. I said, Henk and I are doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And he said he was always a lot of fun. And he had a little twinkle in his eye when he said that. So I'm sure there's some stories.
Well, there's not too many stories, but I have got a story about him. I actually went and trained with him before the World Time Trial Championships in '98 in San Sebastian. And I had one of those hotter time trial bikes. And he's like, oh, listen, you know, he didn't train much, but when he trained so hard. And anyway, we did this. He's like, oh, we're just going to do this 8K warm-up lap, and then we're going to do the real time trial training. So I sat next to him on the 8-kilometre warm-up lap. I got 6K into the warm-up. I had to sit on his wheel. So he was that aero, Chris Boardman, that I actually followed in time trials because he was in GAN with me as a teammate, just to kind of learn and see how he did things. Like when we were in the car, he was so aero. He had an aero helmet on. You couldn't see it from the car.
Oh, because his head was so tucked in.
Yeah. So his like elbows were, his wrists, the part that joins the elbow.
His forearm,
were
I think,
at the
is what you're
same
looking
level
for.
as the tyre. That's how low he used to get. So, and that's all changed now, right?
It got banned.
So up. No, that position's not banned. No, not the Superman.
Oh, right,
Not
yes.
the Superman, but he was so aero on that normal UCI position. He was a genius. He was the man that started the aero revolution. He was a pioneer.
Yeah.
Chris Boardman.
Well, he's an interesting fella, and they were more excited before that final than they were after that final.
Yes.
I'll say that. And we had Rob Hatch and Joe Rousel just in front of us, and I looked over to see whether they were enjoying the moment as much as us. Incidentally, no.
They weren't.
They weren't, but they were good sports.
They weren't. What was your favourite moment?
Well, my favourite moment, obviously the TP, but was Elise Andrews from New Zealand winning the women's Keirin and the women's sprint. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you why. Her father, John, was the QAS sprint coach for a long time, and he left about 6 months ago to go back. I think he got called back by Elise. Come on, Dad, need you back. And he took her up to the start line in the Keirin final and the sprint. But in the Keirin final, he was holding her, and all of the coaches were just like staring ahead, holding their riders. And he was talking to Elise and stroking her back really gently.
Because he's allowed to do that because he's dad.
His dad.
Whereas a normal coach wouldn't be allowed to do that. Under any circumstances.
No. It was the most beautiful moment. It truly was. And, I've often spoken about how much I miss my dad, and I know you miss your dad too, Henk.
Rest in peace.
It was the most beautiful moment. It was this moment of sport where I thought, God, this is so much more, regardless of the outcome. This is so much more of a journey than this one moment we see on the television.
Yeah.
And she went on to win that, and then she won the sprint, and the photos and the pictures of him trackside after that was really beautiful.
That human moment, it's a special feeling too. And that's why we love sport so much. And we can talk all day about aero and who was the best and, whatever. But the human emotion around sport is what keeps people involved. And for that is,
Henk,
100%.
in the pre-meeting at the pub, you mentioned you had a good Olympic story.
I do. And every time I see Dawn Fraser, I just think of the old man.
Tell me more.
So I'm not sure if anyone out there who follows swimming, but as a sport person in Australia, everyone knows who Dawn Fraser is. She was a legend. She won a couple of gold medals, and she went to the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. And my dad was there doing the team pursuit with Stuart O'Grady's uncle, Bob Baird.
There you go. Family affair.
It was Bob Baird. Who else? I can't remember the other two names. Anyway, long story short, my dad gets fourth. They lose to the Dutch, and my dad is actually born in Holland and immigrated to Australia as an 11-year-old. So they race off against the the Dutch, and he runs fourth in the Olympic team pursuit on a 450-metre outdoor track. And they had handheld watches back then. They didn't even have, like you go across the line and it records it. No, they had like 3 Seiko watches and they just averaged out the time. And then, they lost by 100th of a second. Anyway, so there was a bit of tomfoolery happening over in Tokyo, and a number of Australian athletes decided that they would take a few Olympic flags and take them home.
That's frowned upon.
Yes. In another word, they flogged them. They stole them. Anyway, Dawn Fraser got caught, and she was sent home from the Olympic Games.
That was quite a big deal.
It was a huge deal.
Are you saying that your old man...
Yeah, my dad was with her. She was wearing my dad's tracksuit top, and he has an Olympic flag, which I actually slept under from the age of 5 to 15 as my bedspread. So my dad climbed up a pole with his razor, like his straight blade, and he cut it off the flag, and he shoved it under his whatever jumper or shirt, because Dawn Fraser was wearing the old man's. And so I have a Tokyo 1964 Olympic flag at my house somewhere.
And Dawny didn't throw Henk Sr. under the bus. He didn't say, hey, I'm not the only one.
No, she didn't. So...
Dawny.
And I can tell you, he wasn't the only one that went home with the Olympic flag.
Oh, do we want to name drop anybody else here?
No, I can't throw anyone else. I can throw my old man under the bus. So rest in peace. The old man thought it was pretty cool, so he got away with it. I pulled it out the other year. And it's still got all the rings on it from where it's supposed to be sitting.
That is gold.
That is the best story.
Oh my God. Well, so incidentally, Kevin Brislin, Victor Brown, Robert Baird, and Hendrikus Vogels.
Oh, I'm a Hendrikus as well. I'm actually Hendrikus the third.
Oh.
So, yes.
So he's Hendrikus the second.
He is. And I have 3 boys and none of them are called Hendrikus.
Why is that?
No, because it's actually, Hendrikus is a Dutch name and they're all Aussie kids. So.
Yes, it does. Perfect segue, Henk, because speaking of Dutch, the Tour de France Femmes.
Oh, good job, you two.
Yes, look at that. So clean. Started this week.
I thought a segue was like one of those things you stand up on and,
They're spelt differently, I believe.
Every time I hear segue, I think of that, like a dude with a helmet on one of those stand-up things.
Tour guide.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
but anyway, good segue.
Right. One of those racing around the Netherlands. So the Tour de France Femmes started in Rotterdam and had the first 3 stages on completely flat land, and then went down south to, I guess, Dutch hills. I use inverted commas when I say hills. There's a few right down the bottom in, near Eindhoven.
Yeah, Limburg.
Yeah, but let's not call them the Alps or the Pyrenees. It's an 8-day race. For 3 of the stages to be pancake flat, super, super windy. Obviously, they ended in sprints. On both of the 2 sprint occasions, Charlotte Cool name.
It is cool.
Seriously, cool name.
Yeah.
She won both of them and had the leader's jersey. But it kind of changes the dynamic of a Grand Tour, doesn't it, when part of it is in Holland, because Holland isn't really Grand Tour territory.
I find it difficult to call it a Grand Tour. And this is no disrespect to the
8
ladies,
days.
because it's not. It's 8 days. It's the Tour de France. I wouldn't call it a Grand Tour. I mean, Paris-Nice is 8 days, so it's their showpiece. It's not a grand. I wouldn't call it a Grand Tour. And I think the ladies want it to be 21 days, don't they? Or has there been talk about that?
It's certainly been talked about. They want it to be much longer than 8.
Yeah, it should be.
I mean, the UCI rules say if it's going to be 10, you have to then have a rest day, and so generally,
so be it.
They don't. Oh, I agree, but generally that's why it tends to be shorter.
So it's still that gap, that money wise.
Yeah, I'd suggest so. Yeah.
So, but I think starting in Holland, women's cycling, they're the queens. I mean, aren't they? In women's cycling, the Dutch, the Belgians, they rule the roost. They
have for quite a while now.
I mean, the crowds must have been sensational.
Yeah. They were. It was very hot and unsurprisingly also very windy.
Yes. Oh, see, I love it. I love all that stuff. I love echelons and not so much road furniture. There's never used to be 25 years ago. Not as much road furniture, but I love the technical aspect of. You would love that too.
Oh, I loved it too. Because
Did you win a KOM jersey?
I did, Merckxy.
KOM
seriously,
jersey
a
in
KOM
Holland.
jersey.
Thank you. Yes, I did.
What's going on there?
In Holland, yes. Let's not even call it a bridge. It was an overpass.
An overpass.
Overpass.
So you realise
And I
that
got
bridges
the
in
KOM
Holland,
jersey.
when you go to the top of a bridge and you stand on it, you can see Belgium.
Well,
That's the
and
next country, by the way.
usually from the top of an overpass, you're at sea level and
Yeah.
everything else is below sea level
Yes.
around you.
Well, Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam is 2.1 metres underwater.
See, there you go. They
So,
really are the flatlanders.
They are the
Well,
flatlanders.
and funnily enough, the jersey was also sponsored by a warehouse that in Australia we'd call it something like Baby Bunting. Over there it was called Baby Dump. And jersey was an off-green. I can't make this up.
You can't
So-
make it up.
We've got to find this jersey. I want to see it.
I actually think Nat has a Baby Dump jersey somewhere too. But what do you think the effect would be if you had effectively a third of the men's Tour de France held on the flatlands?
Well, realistically and historically, a lot of the Grand Tours have lots of other countries involved. Like the Vuelta always goes into
Yeah.
France or Italy. The Tour de France goes into both of those countries as well. This tour's started. I've done the Giro, which started in Belgium. I've done. They always try and pick a big city in another country because they pay like €4 million or 40 million euros, or I don't know the numbers.
I
I'm
like
just throwing
that,
it out
but
there.
it's just the dead flat element of it. So it's not even the starting somewhere else. It's that the racing is so different when it's dead flat and windy versus, Italy, Belgium, France. Okay, they're slightly different, but none of them are quite the same as
No.
what you experience in Holland.
No, I mean, I suppose they could have done 3 flat stages in France and then done the next 5 in the mountains or however the profile looks from now. But, I mean, for me, it would have just, what I can see, it's come down to how much Holland have paid to get the Women's Tour de France there because they love it. And
They do.
Cycling people in Holland is the biggest sport with soccer, football. But, yeah, it men's Tour de France, 3 days, and I don't know if it'd fly, but
Well, they'd be your Jonas and your whatnots. They'd be complaining about how dangerous it was.
Well, that'd
and
be off
is it even
GC.
part of? Yeah, that's what.
But Vollering's not.
No, Vollering's not. No, in
So
fact,
she
she's
won the
already
time
leading.
trial.
She won the time trial, and then she was in the break on day 4 when Puck Peters won. And what's so cool about Puck Peters winning, aside from the fact that
she's got a cool name.
she's got a very cool name. And more Dutch winners, 4 from 4, is that she's never won a road race before.
Wow.
So she's
Not a
from
bad first
cross
win.
and mountain bike.
I mean,
and
normally
not
you
bad
win a
first
club
win.
race first, right?
Usually.
You normally win a clubby and then maybe go to nationals or something and you run a top 10. But nah, my
Nah.
first race, I'm just going to win a stadium
I
tour.
think she's pretty busy. I don't know that she does club racing.
No, I don't reckon.
It'd be cool if she did though.
And poor old Spratty.
Yes, poor old Spready broke her hand.
Had some bad luck, eh?
Yeah,
already.
but she's still out there.
What is she? Such a
She's
trooper.
still
isn't she?
going. And I saw some funny videos from Sarah Roy, who is just in really great spirits, which I love seeing that.
She's always
Like, I
pretty
love
happy.
seeing the athletes having fun and enjoying it and soaking it up.
She's got the coach over there.
She does.
That's
She's
gotta
got
help.
super coach over there. So Natty, my
Oh.
sister's over there, and Nat said it's pretty amazing. I'll get her to send us some little videos.
Yeah, put her to work.
Yeah, I'll put her to work,
Yes.
especially on Alpe d'Huez. I'll get her
Any
to.
wheelhouse plugs she can get in there?
Oh,
too?
absolutely. I mean,
I'd like to
and
get Demi on the show. Can
maybe.
she sort that out?
Oh, we'll
Yeah.
try.
Seeing
We'll
as
try and do
Well, you
that.
got-
You fluffed Peter Sagan.
you got Sagan in.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
hey, how good was
I
that?
tried,
I mean, you're
Merckxy.
literally talking to the bloke.
How
I know.
Don't
how
even-
jealous for you, mate.
tell
He
you
was
what.
a nice fella.
Yeah, he went on NBC though. Anyway,
Did he? Did he really?
no, that was an in joke with Henk.
Oh,
No,
I
you
see.
mean CV?
Yes.
RCS, sorry.
Oh, Come on.
River City.
Yeah,
there you go.
it's all right. You're
I
all
need
over it.
I need to have some more coffee.
I think when it goes to the mountains in the next couple of days, finishes last stage on Alpe d'Huez, Nat's up there. I reckon we could get her to like walk the last couple of K and give us a bit of insight into what it's actually like. But Neve Bradbury, it could be her moment to shine.
So how do you think she's going to go?
I think she could give it a nudge and come close to winning it. Like the stage, which ultimately though, if she can outclimb Vollering, and we haven't seen her against Vollering in top form because she's been getting better every time she's raced this season. Like her trajectory of improvement is so good. She's still so young, but
do you reckon they'll mark her a bit better though this time?
No.
Well, who's going to help? Like it's I was just about to say man on man then. It's woman on
man.
On woman. So against, not on. So there's no one really to chase when you're up on Alpe d'Huez. It's you got to do everything yourself. So
I've never ridden up there unless we're talking about Zwift, and I've tried that and
I've raced up there.
It wasn't real pretty.
In the Tour a couple of times. It's nasty.
I've walked part of it and I've driven up enough of it that I get the sense of it, but certainly the first half is just...
It's actually not too bad, and it's just a famous climb, Alpe d'Huez, so it's always been a point where you can win or lose the Tour de France, but it's definitely nowhere near the hardest.
Do you remember how much time you lost up there?
Oh, probably half an hour. But I also stopped for a beer at Dutch Corner.
Oh, very good.
So I was with Eric Zabel in 97, and then I pushed a Magnus Backstedt in 99 up, and he is the heaviest man that's ever ridden a bike in the Tour de France. He's a 94-kilo monster.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 90 kilos. 88 to 94 was his race weight, and January is like 94, so I just quoted that because the story's better.
Yeah.
So,
I think it will be. I hope that the fans get up there as well and give them the same treatment as what they get for the men's Tour de France.
I think it will. I mean, obviously, the star power is. I mean, just go back 5 years. I think we're stratospherically different. Women's cycling is so much bigger, but they just love cycling as a whole. So having the women's Tour de France up there, you're going to see huge crowds, and hopefully they have great weather because they had pretty bad weather yesterday in Liège.
They did. It was very hot the first couple of days, like in the high 30s, and then some crappy weather as they went into Liège. But hopefully that'll clear up a bit.
But your pick now is Vollering. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
after...
it's hard to look past Vollering. But I think that Neve Fisher-Black, Neve Bradbury, the Neves that everybody calls Neem. I just love that they get miscalled all the time.
Neems.
The Neems. I think the Neems could do really well, both of them. You know. So.
We'll eagerly watch that. And I heard Grace had a puncher in the time trial, our Olympic champion, the favourite.
Oh, did you see her beautiful gold bike? They gave her a beautiful, lovely gold bike. I think it would be quite hard, actually, for her after the hype of the Olympics and achieving it. And
do you think
she's not a partier. I think it's just
that
when you. Look at me going in to defend her honour.
Come on.
I think that when you achieve something like that and you've been focused on it for so long, and ultimately the end of the season is retirement, that it is hard to maintain the focus.
It was almost the first event of the Olympic Games.
Yeah, so it was literally weeks ago. Yeah.
It was day one, right?
Yeah.
And we got our first gold medal on the first day with Grace Brown. And I'm sure she has done an enormous amount of publicity since.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wants a piece of her, and, you got to go back to the daily grind.
Yeah, very much. Well, I noticed that two in particular, Maggie Coles-Lister and Daria Pekulik, and Pekulik got third in the Omnium at the Olympics on Sunday and then started on Monday at lunchtime at the Women's Tour.
Oh, my God.
That's insane. A number of them did it. I mean, Lotte Kopecky opted not to ride the Tour de France Femmes because she couldn't. It's not really fair, I guess, for someone like her who won the green jersey last year to then come back and try and defend it after training for track and after doing Olympic track.
But she's still got to be better than... Like where would you put her in the world?
Kopecky.
Yeah.
Oh, top
Righto.
couple
Yeah,
on
so-
any given day.
Yeah. I mean, if you're...
But-
Anyway, I was surprised that... I wasn't surprised because his girlfriend didn't get selected, that the poll didn't show up.
Oh,
See, he didn't go to the Olympics because his missus
that's correct.
got said,
'Cause
you're not
Zigard
going to the
got
Olympics.
left
So
out.
he's just pulled the middle finger up and done one of these ones.
Yeah. Yes.
So, you're not selecting her, well, I'm not going, because that whole country would have been waiting for him to go to the Olympics to win the Olympic road race,
Yep.
and he's just used his star power. Now,
yeah,
that's
a
what's
bit
really
of a bummer.
happened.
It is a bit of a bummer.
So
You know
it
what
is
he-
a bummer.
You know what he wants now? The rainbow jersey.
Oh,
yeah.
He's coming for the rainbow jersey.
I reckon he's going to get it too, mate.
I reckon he probably will too. Yeah, I reckon Remco's probably done his dash this year. At some point, he'll just
Yeah.
explode into
Yeah, he'll be in the nightclub doing the doof doof
the
I
hard,
like
the hard
that.
Doesn't he
beat,
love it?
I
What's
love
it
that.
called?
the hard beat,
Chubba.
hard beat or
That's
something.
what it's called.
Oh,
Chubba.
God.
You would have been in a few of those clubs, Henk.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
Yeah.
I may have been in the IT club in Amsterdam after I won the Tour of Holland.
Yeah.
Oh, the
There you go,
Olympia's
just drop
tour.
that one.
He
Yep,
won
just
the
drop
Tour of
that.
Holland.
Yes, I
So-
won the Tour of Holland back in '94.
Yeah, Henk would have been happy if it had have started any Grand Tour, had half of it.
Yes,
in-
one of my teammates
Yep.
may or may not have, I can't prove it, been half naked in a cage swinging off the ceiling.
Sorry,
and he may
in a
have been part of.
cage?
He may have been part of. He may have been part of the Australian team. I won't drop his name, Dean Jones.
That sounds like a different nightclub, Henk.
No, it was in 1994. It was yes, half. It was a half
In
gay
a
club,
cage.
and the music was better, so we went there. And there was some other stories that can't be told either.
Well, hang on. How do you have a half gay club?
Well, if half people aren't gay and half people are. This is not like I'm confused about my sexuality club. It was like
right.
half
See,
gay, half
look,
women.
there you go. And that is why you tune into the Wheelhouse, people, because we talk about the big issue.
Yes.
Can I get that address when at the end of the
Oh
show?
my
I don't-
God.
I don't
Okay,
think
all
it's-
right, enough.
I don't
you
think
pair.
it's even open anymore. It was 94.
Right. Okay.
Oh gosh, you guys. Okay, I am going to move on.
Vuelta.
Vuelta, but before we get to Vuelta,
whoops, sorry.
before the end of the Women's Tour de France Femmes, if you still would like to go into the draw, and who doesn't, to win yourself a beautiful Pogacar Colnago, all you need to do is put TDF Bike in when you purchase anything at Bikebug. Next week we shall be drawing
Is it
said
too late
competition.
Too late for me to enter, or am I
Think that-
disqualified?
I
cannot
think
enter,
that
apparently.
you are probably not allowed to enter.
You know, that's a beautiful bike.
Dricus, I'm afraid.
That's actually one of my favourite bikes ever.
It is. It is a beautiful bike. So get on it to try and win that. Now we can talk about the Vuelta.
Starting tomorrow, I think,
I cannot
depending
believe.
on when this episode drops.
I cannot believe that it's Vuelta time already. 3,300 kilometres from Lisbon to Madrid. But the insane thing is how much climbing there is.
Do you want me to put the stats?
I
Do you want me
do.
to say
I
the
do.
stats?
Yep. So how many vertical metres? Because I think
All right.
this
Gra-
differentiates the tours.
Grand Tour total elevation gains in 2024 via VeloViewer, which we use as DSs, which is very accurate.
Excellent.
Giro d'Italia this year, 46,640 metres.
That's solid.
Tour de France, 53,618 metres.
Even more solid.
Yeah, like horrible, horrific. And then they just thought at the end of this long, hard season, the Vuelta a España 2024 is 61,522 metres.
Whoa.
So a third more than the Giro. Almost a third more than the Giro. Like
is
that's
insane.
Just everyone look on your Strava accounts and see how much elevation
You've
you've
done
done
all
in your
year.
life.
Yes.
Good luck trying to do 61,522 in 10 years.
I mean, isn't that kind of good though? How the Grand Tours differentiate themselves from each other and have different flavours. Like the Vuelta, you just know that it's really the climbers.
Yeah, it has always been like that. I've done 2 Vueltas in the 90s and they were not comfortable.
Not
They
comfortable.
were not comfortable
You
under
would
any...
have preferred the cage in a
I lost
Amsterdam
10
nightclub.
kilos in a Grand Tour. So I need to do a Grand Tour now to lose 10 kilos, but I lost 10 kilos in the Vuelta. And in the late 90s. It's always been based around their strengths, and I think the Vuelta organisers we've got lots of good climbers. Our Spanish riders in general are always really good climbers, and I think they base it around that. And everyone loves a mountain stage. I mean, flat stage is as great as the last 5K is argy-bargy and headbutts and corners and crashes and stuff. That only goes so far. Like the mountain stages are great things to watch.
They really are.
People take lots of pleasure in seeing other people suffer. Why is that?
That's true. That is very true.
Look how fast this guy's going. He's dropped him, and it's like this guy's in his absolute limit, and he's. So it's people love watching it. And the Spanish, they really get behind it, especially the Basque region. Some of the best fans in the world are Spanish. And
it's beautiful. Well, so who's going to...
Your boy's there, Kate. Wout's riding it.
Oh, wow. I was like, who are we talking about? Wout's riding it.
Which one? She's like, which one?
Yeah, which boy? She's still stuck on the cage conversation.
Stop it. Seriously. Oh, my heavens.
Yeah, Wout's there with Sepp.
Right. Yeah. I think Sepp could back up if he's got the support.
Yeah. I mean...
Oh, you don't. That was like a...
No. I think, he's got form. I think last year they had an unbelievable... it was unprecedented what they did last year at the Vuelta. Having the 3 best riders in the world run 1, 2, 3. Hey, come on. I mean, that was nuts.
That's not going to happen again.
They've got a very strong team this year. Stephen Kruijswijk, they've got Wout van Aert, Dylan van Baal. They're some really good guys to help him. But the UAE, for me, look a stronger team.
Oh, Yatesy.
Ooh.
So I'm calling Yatesy for the win. He's for another one.
Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity. This is his opportunity to really shine in that team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Almeida's going, that young kid from Mexico. I think I forget his name. Anyway, it'll come to me. But they've got a super strong team, and they're all very good climbers. And they've always been, I think, especially this year, they've been the dominant climbing team, and I think they will be again this year.
Yeah.
Jay Vine's back.
Well, so let's just talk very quickly about that, because Jay Vine back from his horrific injury and back winning.
Straight.
Like, how good is that?
Yeah, he's always been a freak. He's just, I mean, we had him in the NRS a couple of years ago, and I couldn't believe how much of a difference he was to everyone else out there. He's just naturally talented, and I can't believe that he was like, they were talking about career-ending injury, straight back, straight winning, straight into the Vuelta, and could we see Australia's first ever Vuelta winner?
Oh, look, I
just threw that out there. But I just threw that out there. I'm not being serious.
Just
but like,
it
he's good enough. He's good enough. I mean, we talked about this on a podcast a while ago about how I thought he could be Pog's right-hand man forever.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got enough right-hand men now in his team. So maybe he's going to be that rider.
It's like what we see in every team. As soon as there's so many right-hand men, they leave.
They turn left.
Well, yeah, like essentially somebody gets to the point where they're like, I think I can do this on my own. I want my own opportunity. And if the team doesn't balance that, and that's why it's good for Yates to be able to go for his own.
Well,
because otherwise he would end up leaving, because you don't always want to ride in servitude.
No,
not if you genuinely think that you can win it yourself.
They did have their own. They were the leaders, the Yates brothers, in the Green Edge team for a long time, and then they went, one state, and he's now been essentially working the whole time.
What about Ben O'Connor? No one's mentioned Ben O'Connor.
Glutzy.
Yeah, he's there.
He is.
He is. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think Ben is not a real threat on GC, but I think you watch, he'll come out and win a stage.
Well, look, he should be able to. I mean, what he did in the Tour when he was backed up against the wall and his big hopes were lost.
Too.
And, I think he's more than capable, especially with all these climbing kilometres. Oh, well, just another reason to be sleep deprived for another month.
Yeah.
Watching all of that. Now, in domestic news very quickly, we've had a few changes. ARA announced that they're going to under-19s for next season. We've reliably heard that Bridge Lane men's team will not be anymore for 2025, which is pretty disappointing. The women's will. Mm-hmm. We've also got, on the exciting side, Pro Velo is starting next year. A few implications, though, of losing a few teams. It'll mean that the starting field's a bit smaller in Pro Velo.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of water to come under the bridge before all that happens. Hopefully, with the new television rights with Pro Velo, there becomes new sponsors and other people who want to get involved. Corporate people want to get involved. It's going to be an exciting series. I think it's going to be fantastic for Australian cycling, and let's hope that we get the numbers and that people really get on board. We really need people to get on board because we want to make this sport bigger. So
yeah, we need them to succeed.
Yeah, we do.
We really do. It's interestingly, if you look at what just happened in Paris with the track endurance team and those 4 guys winning a gold medal, and I'll add James Moriarty to that mix. He didn't ride; he was there as a travelling reserve. But without Moriarty, they wouldn't have been able to win the gold. That depth is there, and we've also seen the creation of this fantastic new track league, Black Line track league. So it's under 19s and under 23s, 3 rounds, Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane. And they've got close to 200 entries, riders wanting to be part of it. That is unreal.
Well, so there's some good points there, Kate. Like so it's going to be a little bit back to grassroots now. So ARA going to under 19. Yeah. So that makes all the best juniors, and then you get that grassroots cycling from 15 to 17-year-olds now going, hey, there's a world-class program with ARA Skip Capital. And then you have a Blackline track series that has a couple of hundred kids who want to go, and then you have, so you've got 2 forces, road and track, now coming in.
Yeah, it's great.
With like international programs, I might add, with ARA. They're going to Europe as well next year. That's the plan, as well as doing the Pro Velo Super League. So they will be having a team in that as well, and then also having this track series is exciting for grassroots, and that's where all the future Olympic champions from 2030, in 2032 are coming from.
That's it. Because if you look at our current crop and the 24-year-olds like Richo, we're like, oh, will he be still around by 2032? We're looking at the juniors.
Yeah, the juniors.
But it's
now.
The juniors now.
So these kids we're seeing now are going to be racing for us in 2032. So this is why the corporate sponsorship is so important in those grassroots, avenues.
Yeah, build the masses.
Teams and races and everything else. If we do that correctly, then we're going to be okay.
And with the gold medals, you got to see it to be it. You got to inspire. And speaking of inspiration, how's your training going for Brisbane to Gold Coast?
Well,
are you going to inspire anybody with your journey, Henk?
I don't know. I can go fast downhill. Is there any downhill sections?
It's all downhill. It's down to the goalie.
I know. Well, in my head, I'm like, it's all downhill.
It's not south, north, east, west. There's no gravity. No. The gravity's the same if it's flat.
What a shame. No.
I haven't ridden for 2 weeks because I've had a little bit of a dicky knee, and it's been raining, pelting 150 mil in the last 4 days. So
the old dicky knee.
I've got a rule now. I don't ride if it's in the rain.
Are you made of sugar?
No, I've got 2. If you put your computer on, if there's 2 spots on your computer, you just turn around.
Is that the rule?
That's my rule. If there's 1, you just watch it. And if there's 2, all right, that's enough.
If you 1, maybe it's sweat.
No, well, actually.
If it's 2,
you just do a 180 and go back.
I definitely have a bit of training to do. I have not touched the bike, obviously, when I was in Paris. However, I did ride a Lime e-bike to every pretty place I could find in the time frame I had, which was not a lot between sessions, but that reinvigorated
on the bike.
Yes. Well, the only issue was I got quite used to the e-bike element of it.
Well, you've got a nice Colnago, haven't you?
I have a beautiful Colnago. I do.
Well, Saturday or this weekend is going to be nice weather, so you're going to have to get out. I'm going to get out and do a few rides.
I'm going to try it. Merckxy
Yeah.
How's your training going?
No, good. I'll be fine.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'll be
Flying?
fine. Yeah, I got a bit of work to do, but I'm
Yeah.
confident.
Bit of work to do. I would
That's some
fall into
confidence.
that category too. Speaking of my beautiful Colnago and Brisbane to Gold Coast, Merckxy and I did a shoot for the Marta Foundation, some safety videos, because it is quite important when you're doing these mass rides. There's a lot of etiquette involved and all sorts of things. Anyway, so we had some wonderful volunteers come and join us at, where were we?
Yeah, the crit.
At Nunda Crit Track to do these
It's a great
safety
crit
videos
track.
and do some instructions. Now, being the turkey that I am, I didn't charge my DI2. And
Oh, God.
so every time Merckxy would say, could you just speed up a little bit? I felt
150
like
revolutions a
I felt
minute.
like I was Matthew Richardson or Christina Clonan, bouncing up and down. And I didn't want to admit it to the people around me because I thought that would make me look like an idiot.
rookie.
And a rookie, and I have this beautiful
Yeah.
bike.
Reminder, charge your gear.
Yes,
your
charge
DI2,
your
people.
DI2. I did ask Elliot at Bikebug how I do that because it's so fancy that I didn't even know. Like on the old one, it just has a plug under your
Yes.
head stem.
Yes.
No more.
No.
Straight into the rear derailleur.
Yeah, there you go.
So I learnt. But to finish this week, according to the University of California, San Diego, in collaboration with Northwestern University,
Okay.
the Tour de France is in big trouble. You were like, where are you going with this?
Yeah, I'm like,
The Tour
hang
de
on.
France is in trouble because DI2 can be hacked in a targeted manner. So at the tour,
Maybe you were
a
hacked.
hacker, maybe that's what happened. A hacker could target one single rider and shut their DI2 down and prevent them changing gears.
That is.
How? Then you're not
Yeah.
live on the internet.
No, but because there is a wireless element
you
to it.
compare to them.
Yeah, so apparently Shimano are working with them to figure out all the vulnerabilities and patch them all. But wouldn't that bring a whole new element to things? And I mean, it raises the question for like fan interaction. If you could, for 5 seconds, disable somebody's whose and when.
Well, hang on. How do we know it hasn't happened already?
Well-
Remember Cav in that
Angela.
sprint? Cav in that sprint, he said his gear changed
Well,
randomly.
every single time he
Yeah.
wins a Tour de France stage, he throws his chain when he
does,
throws his
yeah.
hand in the air.
Yeah.
I want someone to find out how many times he's won Tour de France stages with
With-
no chain.
Yeah. Could our data boffins go back and
I
look
reckon
over them,
someone
please?
someone will work that out.
I reckon it'd be 90% of them.
We don't have data boffins.
But-
It's just us. So.
There's
Oh,
got no,
really?
not
Oh,
us.
like in the Twitter-
not in
Twitterverse?
Team Wheelhouse.
At
I mean,
RCS,
yeah,
right.
no one at RCS.
like our big, community out there.
Right. Gotcha. The
Yeah.
couch peloton.
Our fan base.
El Couch Pelotone, yes. And apologies also that we didn't get in a team for Tour de France Femmes for the Seven Nations Cup, and that is entirely my fault because I was on a plane coming back from Paris and
in the business class.
didn't
Up the front.
didn't
Be up
rea-
the front.
Yeah, it's
Didn't-
up the front.
didn't
What's
realise.
What's that like?
Was that good?
Did you have a shower?
I've
Was there a bed? A bar? Hey?
I've walked through there once.
Are you
It was
still
pretty-
drunk?
I was for the 6.5 hours in Dubai. I could tell you, I would have loved a bed.
So
Alas.
did they go all the way down? Was it?
I just take a Valium and wake up at the other side.
wrong? It's like
I
you
don't
don't
remember
wanna-
any of it.
Where
Like
are
you
we?
don't want to talk
I
about it.
slept
Yeah.
the entire way there and the entire way back.
I tell you, I got the pajamas. They're
Yes,
quite fancy.
You did.
Got a hood.
It's
So
true.
you gave him pajamas.
I did.
Did
Yep.
you give
Yeah.
him your socks?
2.5.
And the
No.
eye shade?
No, I kept those.
Toothpaste?
Two and a
Anything
half
else?
weeks with the kids. Here's a set of pajamas.
What kind of booze were they serving?
It's. and
Just
I bought
Hennessy,
back
man.
some.
Yeah.
What is that? Scotch or whiskey?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
Just leftovers,
it just
apparently.
sounds good. I don't think Hennessy's vodka, is
There you
it?
go.
No, Hennessy Scotch.
Oh, Scotch.
Scotch.
There you go.
Scotch is good.
Have I ever had Scotch?
Japanese Scotch.
Yeah,
Merckxy?
you've had scotch.
Have I?
Yeah.
She can't remember.
Well, I don't know the difference between Scotch and whiskey. They look the same, smell the same. Apparently
Scotch
they're
whiskey
not.
or Irish whiskey, it's just another word.
Just
really.
where they're from. Anyway, look,
Yeah.
another enlightening episode of the Wheelhouse Cycling Podcast.
Yeah. Nightclubs.
Thanks for coming on the journey. Cages.
Business class.
Thanks to
my
you.
I throw my mate under the bus.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, not sorry.
He loves it.
All right.
Come back next week.
Let's go to the pub.
We'll be drawing the Tour de France bike for Colnago. So get on board. You've got until 11:59 on Sunday night to purchase something on Bikebug. TDF Bike is the code you need to go into the hunt to win, and
Get
we'll
on
pull
it.
the name out of a hat. Probably not actually a hat, but we will, out of a barrel or something fancy.
Maybe a cage.
Maybe a cage.
Good one. All right. Ciao, ciao.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Half nude. Which half? The top half or the bottom half?